Hello out there, and welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast. We have a very special show today focused on corporate responsibility when it comes to how we as a nation are helping our military service members, veterans, and their families in need. USAA is leading the way in providing support to our military community throughout the country through the USAA Foundation social impact programs and the Face the Fight campaign. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast, where we tell the stories of those who have served in the past and those who are serving today. From transition to financial wellness, VA benefits to mental health, we cover issues facing veterans, active military, and their families. Now here's your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army and co-founder of the American Freedom Foundation, Jack L. Tilley.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks to all of our veterans, service members, and their families for your service to our great country. Now, before we get started, I personally want to thank our presenting sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, whose members are the mission, and Purdue Global, where you can start your comeback, with additional sponsorship from Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental and Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision, and USAA. Together, they make your next mission happen. They love our veterans and families, and if you listen to our show, we love them too. Today we're going to talk about how USAA is having a major impact in the lives of our service members, veterans, and their families through programs directly designed to address their unique needs. And I'm excited to have as our guest Justin Schmitt, Assistant Vice President of Corporate Responsibilities at USAA and the President of the USAA Foundation. Justin is also on the executive leadership team for the social impact campaign for Face the Fight. And Justin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a truly pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on this show, and I'm glad you look so good today, and I appreciate you coming in here for us. Hey, before we get started, could you tell the audience just a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So, Justin Schmitt. I've been at USAA for about 17 years. I have the honor of leading the USAA Corporate Responsibility Team, which is focused on support and well-being for our nation's military community through a range of programs that are geared to equip not just support for service members and veterans, but their family members.
Well, thank you for what you guys are doing for our veterans and families. And I look forward to getting this discussion going. Justin, tell us what's involved in your position. You know, that's a pretty important position, the Assistant Vice President of Corporate Responsibility at USA and the President of USA Foundation. Can you tell me what's involved with all that?
Absolutely. So USAA, I would describe as having maybe the best mission in corporate America, which is really all about the financial security and care for our nation's military community. We certainly do that as a company through our products and services and trusted advice and technology. But with our philanthropic efforts, we seek to go beyond that to support programs that equip military families to navigate the stressors that are unique to military life, that provide support for things like veteran and military spouse employment, support for Gold Star families and families of the fallen, military and veteran caregivers, and in the case of Face the Fight, an initiative focused on veteran suicide prevention. So it truly is an honor to be part of an organization that has every fiber of its being committed to supporting those who serve our country.
Do you have a lot of volunteers that help you out too with the things that you're doing?
You know, volunteerism is a big part of what we do at USAA. We have about 37,000 USAA employees. Our team is also responsible for the giving and volunteerism that they do to support military and local community causes. And I'm honored to share the fact that USAA employees give and volunteer at levels that put USAA easily in the top quartile of corporate America, but in many cases the top decile when we benchmark their giving and volunteerism compared to other companies through CECP, which is Chief Executives for Corporate Purpose. So just to put it in practical terms, last year USAA employees out of their own pockets gave about $8 million personally to military and local nonprofits, and volunteered over 250,000 volunteer hours to support organizations that support military and local families. So our employees are a major force multiplier for the social impact and corporate philanthropy initiatives that we lead.
Oh my goodness, that's you got some great employees out there giving all that money and all those hours and stuff. Hey, you also serve on the executive leadership team for Face the Fight. Would you tell the audience, how Face the Fight started and what's the initiative about it?
Thank you. Face the Fight is focused on combating veteran suicide. And veteran suicide is a heavy topic to address. It's one that is simply intimidating because we know that it impacts a lot of families. But here's what's important to know. Veteran suicide is not inevitable. It is preventable. And what we've learned is that since 9/11, so close to 23 years ago, that kicked off America's longest war, the Iraq and Afghanistan campaign. During that time, our nation lost about 6,500 service members to combat operations, and over that same time frame, over 120,000 U.S. military veterans to suicide. I would classify it as maybe the biggest issue that has caused trauma and collateral damage in our military community since 9/11. But as I said, the good news, if there can be a silver lining, is that veteran suicide is preventable. It is not inevitable. And there are evidence-based interventions that are proven effective at reducing suicidal ideation, attempts, and negative outcomes. So Face the Fight is about philanthropic support. It's about organizing a coalition of other companies in the private sector, along with nonprofits, to provide support and scale for highly effective interventions. And it's also a campaign to destigmatize and break the stigma of seeking help, because we know that the real sign of strength is when you navigate the turbulence and hard times in your life and you come through the other side intact. And to destigmatize asking for help, which is not a sign of weakness, making it through hard times is a sign of strength.
Yeah, I know personally how hard it is to talk about problems or issues, because I've struggled with post-traumatic stress for a long time, that our service members, they're struggling with. So it's a big obstacle. Do you think the stigma is to overcome the trauma? How do we do that?
I didn't serve in the military directly. I have served at USAA for over 17 years. And one of the things that I've learned is that those who've served our country, there's sometimes a reluctance to ask for help because it requires so much tenacity and dedication and, frankly, toughness. But when it comes to matters of mental health and well-being, these are simply matters of health, and they shouldn't be as stigmatized as they are. I think sometimes there's that culture of just keeping it to yourself or keeping up a brave front. But the reality is that our nation owes a debt of gratitude to those who've served our nation and worn her cloth. And the more that we can do to break the stigma around seeking help, that we can fund programs that are highly effective, and that we can create a community where that support is felt from the private sector to those who've served our country, we believe we can play a unique role in supporting the DoD and the VA and organizations that have been focused on suicide prevention for years and decades.
Yeah, I tell people all the time when I come out of war, and probably for 3 to 5 years I had anger issues and I didn't fit in. I struggled a little bit, and I got to be honest, I didn't know really who to talk to, but I was lucky. I stayed in the military and I was able to work it out. How does a person get, everything in the military is about trust and confidence. Mm-hmm. They need this, to seeking help. But how do they find the right nonprofit organization, especially, when they're in such a vulnerable position, I guess, or vulnerable at that particular time that they need assistance?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that they can do. One thing that veterans can do if they are interested in exploring, like, what are options that are available. If they visit us at wefacethefight.org, you will find a number of nonprofit organizations that Face the Fight is providing support to that are highly effective within different focus areas. In terms of mental health, the Bush Institute has a great technology tool called Veteran Check-In, which allows a veteran to simply click a button, share a little bit of information about themselves, which is absolutely confidential. It's outside of the DoD or the VA, and it can connect a veteran with nonprofit resources that provide clinical care. Some of those may be organizations that you're familiar with that are supported by Face the Fight. Organizations like the Cohen Veterans Network, the Headstrong Project, Stop Soldier Suicide, Centerstone, and others. Vets for Warriors is another great one led by General Mark Graham out of Syracuse University. But these are organizations that provide various levels of clinical care or peer support outside of the DoD or VA chain, but complementary of resources that are provided by the government. These are no cost. These are organizations that provide evidence-based care, but also have military cultural sensitivity that are often staffed by military veterans and military spouses that recognize some of the unique language and experiences that are common for military service members and their families.
Yeah, Justin, at the beginning of the show, we're going to take a quick break real quick, but at the beginning of the show, you said, I never served. You're serving now, and you're making a difference. So, you're serving in a different way that's having a tremendous impact on the lives of our veterans and family. Justin, we need to take a quick break, so please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is a great discussion. This is Your Next Mission video podcast with me, your host, Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major of the Army. And if you're enjoying this discussion, I know that you are because we're talking about saving the lives of our veteran community. Please like us. Click on that subscribe button below. And be sure to click on the bell to receive notifications of all of our upcoming video podcast releases. I'll be right back after a word from our presenting sponsors.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, proudly presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, the most trusted credit union owned by members of the military community, serving all branches of the armed forces and their families. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Their members are the mission. And Purdue Global. You're ready for a comeback, and with Purdue Global, you can do more than take classes. You can take charge of your story, of your career, of your life. Earn a degree you can be proud of and get an education employers respect. Start your comeback at purdueglobal.edu. Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. We're talking with Justin Schmitt, Assistant Vice President of Corporate Responsibilities at USAA and the President of the USAA Foundation. He also on the Executive Leadership Team for Face the Fight. Before we get back to our discussion, I want to let you know about a way to support the work we're doing on behalf of our veterans and families here at Your Next Mission. If you have a used vehicle you're planning to get rid of or some property you don't have any plans for, you can donate it. Visit our website at AmericanFreedomFoundation.org/ and click on the vehicle donation button or the home donation button to support our work. Please know that every penny of your donation goes to support our veteran community. Justin, please tell us about how you're getting the word out about Face the Fight. I mean, how do you get the word out to let people know about all the great work that you're doing?
So one way we're doing it is through social media. So we have Face the Fight social media channels through LinkedIn, X, Facebook. We would invite people to follow Face the Fight on social media. It gives them the opportunity to hear from Face the Fight. It also gives them the opportunity to share resources available through Face the Fight through your own sphere of influence. So organizations and individuals, that's a very authentic way, for military veterans and those within the military community to share more about Face the Fight. I'll also share we've had some really creative opportunities to amplify Face the Fight this year. One was in September during Veteran Suicide Prevention Month when Humana and the Humana Foundation, they are founding partners of Face the Fight along with Reach Resilience. But Humana gifted their sponsorship one night in September of the Grand Ole Opry, kind of that hallowed stage for country music that allowed us to do a complete takeover of one show. All of the artists that participated that night were able to talk about Face the Fight, support for our nation's military community, and the Grand Ole Opry, along with others in our 230-member USAA and Face the Fight coalition, were able to amplify portions of the Grand Ole Opry and, more importantly, messages of hope encouragement, and resources that are afforded through Face the Fight. So we look for ways to communicate authentically using veteran voices, social media, and opportunities like the one you've given us, with the opportunity to share to the military families who follow your podcast.
Yeah, the social media is really a good one because it gets a lot of words out. You can keep pumping that stuff and let them know that, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm here to do whatever I got to do to put you in a better place in life. So that's great work. You know, it's really outstanding how many organizations, you know, that have come together to support Face the Fight, you know, to prove the, you know, not just to provide the you know, the therapy, I guess, but also through donations. Would you talk about that?
Yeah, one of the really special parts of Face the Fight is philanthropic grant making. And when we embarked upon creating Face the Fight, one thing that we realized is that it's a subject and an issue that is too big for one company to confront in isolation. And we believed truly that we could be stronger, partnered with other organizations, and by extending the invitation to others in corporate America. All of corporate America benefits from doing commerce and having freedom in an environment that is protected by less than 1% of our citizens. And so we believe that we could extend an invitation through Face the Fight for other companies to join us in collaborative grant making. And we established something called the Face the Fight Charitable Fund, which is a donor advised fund. And to date, we've been able to build a war chest of about $86 million in philanthropic dollars to support Face the Fight grant making. USAA and the USAA Foundation made a 5-year, $50 million commitment to that. And our other two founding partners, Reach Resilience and the Humana Foundation, between the two of them, gave an additional $31 million. Other companies have continued to join Face the Fight through philanthropic and in-kind contributions. Great brands like Lockheed Martin, KPMG, Walmart, Starbucks, Fiserv, just to name a few. And it's rare for companies to collaborate with philanthropic grant making. It's just not that common. But Face the Fight and the topic of veteran suicide prevention has proven to be a topic that others are receptive to rallying around because they understand its importance.
Yeah, I would think you probably get organizations just about every day that want to join Face the Fight. I mean, do you have a lot of people always just sort of waiting to join the team or something?
You know, we are so appreciative when companies reach out to us. If any company listening just visits our site, again, www.wefacethefightworg, there's a button to join the coalition, and we have exploratory calls frequently with other companies that want to engage in the fight. And what's really interesting is that companies, they want to find their own authentic way into veteran suicide prevention. They don't just want to check a box or write a check. They want to find a way to authentically support. And I'll give a very small example. Starbucks. Now, you wouldn't make an association between coffee and veteran suicide prevention. It's just not an obvious connection. Yeah. But Starbucks joined the Face the Fight Coalition. And you know what they did? For National Buddy Check Week in September, for National Buddy Check Week, which is in October, Starbucks provided 10,000 Starbucks gift cards for people that register through the VA to do the National Buddy Check. Last year, that program had about 3,000 veteran registrants for National Buddy Check. They had over 10,000 register for Buddy Check this week, which has reached about 100,000 veterans in October for National Buddy Check Month. And so Starbucks enabled a buddy check to happen over a coffee, giving time and intimacy and connection for veterans that wanted to do a meaningful buddy check with somebody that they'd served with. And that's just a small example of how I think any company can find an authentic and natural way to support this cause based on their own unique capabilities.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm just Starbucks thought of that, but that was a great idea. But a lot of people, and impacted a lot of people, not just the veteran, but also the families. Oh, that's good. What a wonderful idea. I know that Face the Fight is not helping veterans initiative, but it's a life-saving initiative. Can you give us some stories about that you might have heard from some your coalition partners that you want to share with us, that you could share with us?
You bet. I like to say that Face the Fight is not a helping veterans initiative. It's a saving lives initiative.
Absolutely.
That's the level of accountability that we've brought to it. One story that resonated with me when we launched Face the Fight in June of 2023, one of our USAA employees, upon experiencing the launch, was reminded of a buddy that he had served with years ago in the Army that he'd been very close with, but they drifted out of touch. And so he was just compelled to call him. He hadn't in a long time, and they both had enough scars of memories that they just hadn't stayed in touch over the years. So he called him out of the blue shortly after our launch, and later he shared with us that when his buddy picked up the phone, they talked for about 30 minutes, and at the end of the conversation, his buddy on the other end of the line shared that he was in his truck with a handgun, contemplating taking his life at the moment that that call came in. And I do think that there's something divine at work when we think about what it means to care, what it means to connect, and not leave anyone behind that has served this country. And when we can create the incentive and the motivation for service members to do that at scale, and for those touch points to happen continuously, we believe that creates a movement and a wave of momentum that strengthens military veterans well after their service days have concluded.
Unbelievable. Thanks for sharing that. That's, we have on our foundation, we asked, because I was a 12th Sergeant Major in the Army, so I asked people on the 12th day of each month to contact somebody they hadn't talked for a while, but if you haven't talked to a veteran in a while, you haven't talked to a person that you served with in a while, it's like you talked to them yesterday. And the other thing is, you never know how people are doing or what kind of impact you have when you reach out to them and start talking with them. Justin, this is a great discussion. When we come back, I want to dive into the impact of Face the Fight is having. But first, we need to take one more break, so please stay right there. We'll be right back. Now, here's a word from two more of the organizations that make this show possible.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, brought to you in part by Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental, Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision.
Part of transitioning out is that dental and vision insurance breaks off from your medical insurance.
Vision and dental is very important to be able to enjoy your retirement.
Blue Cross Blue Shield makes the transition so much easier.
And USAA.
A promise is a trust not to be broken, whether spoken with an oath or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. We're blessed to be here today with Justin Schmitt, the Assistant Vice President of Corporate Responsibilities at USAA and the President of the USAA Foundation. He is also on the executive leadership team for Face the Fight. Remember, this is your show. We know there's so many issues there that directly affect you, and we want to address each and every one of them. So please, 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 as I said it many times, reach out to me. Tell me what topics you'd like it to cover. You can call or text me at 844-424-1134, or send me an email at smatilley@yournextmission.org. And guess what? I'll reach back out to you. Justin, Face the Fight just released a 2023 progress report in recognition of its first anniversary in June. To me, some of the numbers really jumped out, showing the enormous impact the initiative is having. I know this is, just the beginning, but would you tell the audience about that?
I think the good news is that it's working. That we have developed a way for companies to collaborate on veteran suicide prevention. And for nonprofits and veteran services organizations to work together in a way that complements the VA and DoD. I think one of the things that I'm proud of is how our team has approached measurement. Measuring a life saved it's hard to do, but there is a way to do it, and it's called dynamic data modeling. So I think the easy way to explain it might be, like in the automotive industry, we know that all cars today have seat belts and airbags. Well, why is that? Well, we know from scientific data that they are effective at reducing injuries and preventing death. So that's not someone's opinion. There's scientific evidence. And the way that they measure that is through dynamic data modeling of vehicle crashes with safety features and vehicle crashes without. Similarly, in the field of suicide prevention, there are evidence-based interventions that have that same standard of scientific data that speak to the effectiveness of the intervention. So Face the Fight works with UT Health San Antonio and the Strong Star Training Initiative as our chief scientific advisor for Face the Fight. They help ensure that the nonprofit interventions that we are currently supporting meet evidence-based criteria. And then the giving that we do through the Face the Fight Charitable Fund, which includes contributions from USAA, Reach Resilience, Humana Foundation, and many others, we're able to direct philanthropic contributions at scale to nonprofit interventions and measure the collective result of programs that we support through dynamic data modeling. Currently, based on the initial $10 million that we deployed for Face the Fight about a year and a half ago, we're currently tracking 3,500 U.S. military veterans' lives saved through 2032 as measured through dynamic data modeling. I know it sounds a little complex, and it is, but it is a way that we bring accountability to the work that we're doing, because the name of the game is keeping military veterans alive, keeping families intact, and inspiring hope for their futures, which is in fact bright.
Yeah. If someone wants to get in touch with you, or if somebody wants to get in touch or learn more about Face the Fight or actually donate, do you have a website or a phone number that you can share with the audience?
Absolutely. Just visit wefacethefight.org, and there's the ability to join the coalition. You can also click that button to learn more. And we are grateful for people, companies, and nonprofit organizations that reach out and join Face the Fight.
Yeah. Is there a phone number too, Justin? I don't know if you have a phone number there to throw it.
You know, we don't have a Face the Fight phone number, but I'll
Yeah.
share my personal number, which is 210-219-6720.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. This. First of all, let me before we wrap it up here, let me just thank you for what you're doing. I mean, great information, a lot of good stuff. And like I said, I have some stories I may share in a minute, but thanks for what you're doing, because you're making a difference. USAA is making a difference. You're certainly making a difference. And you're currently serving and making a big difference in the lives of our veterans and families. So I certainly appreciate that. Do you have any final thoughts, anything you want to share with the audience that maybe you missed or you want to reemphasize?
You know, I think some people might wonder, in addition to, mental health care, in addition to checking on a buddy, is there anything else that is highly effective at reducing veteran suicide prevention? And I'll just share that another thing that almost any military veteran can do is voluntarily, safely, and securely store their firearm in their home. So why do we say that? We know that safe and secure firearm storage it's an evidence-based intervention for suicide prevention. And it's been proven to create just enough time and space between a moment of despair and a terrible decision. And veterans own firearms at a higher rate than civilians, and they are by far the most frequently used lethal means for veterans who die by suicide. So when you keep a weapon securely stored, it keeps your family safer. It keeps you as a veteran safer. And there may be times where you're feeling distress that, even if you don't typically keep your weapons secured, there may be a season that you want to do that. And that is really protecting you. It's protecting your family and the community that loves you.
Oh, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that too. That's a great thing, because I know a lot of veterans, to include myself, have a lot of weapon systems. They need to lock them and keep them secure. Thanks again, Justin, for being on the show. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. Total privilege. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you so much. Thanks again to Justin Schmitt for being with us. I'm Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, and you've been enjoying Your Next Mission video podcast. Thank you for joining us. Log on to our website at yournextmission.org and leave me a review. Hopefully it's a good review. While you're there, you can visit our nonprofit and corporate partners who have jobs and services available that can assist you in your transition from the military. And check out our job board in partnership with Recruit Military and Upline, where you can create your own personal profile that will match you, just the right job in real time. You can follow me on my personal social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Rumble. And if you like what we're doing with Your Next Mission, please click on that subscribe button below. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications about our upcoming video podcast. Don't forget, we want to hear from you. Please leave me a message or send me a text at 844-424-1134 or send me an email at smatilley@yournextmission.org. Thanks again to Justin for joining us. And when Justin told that story a minute ago about a friend of his calling a veteran in a truck and checking on him, and he had his weapon and he was getting ready to take his life, I almost started to cry. You see, I just want to let everybody know, when we talk about suicide, we probably talk about it a lot, but it's not too much, because we need to make sure that we talk to each other, we help each other. We know there's so many people out there struggling, but you got to reach out to somebody. Don't sit there and don't be alone. Face the Fight, USAA and the coalition is making a tremendous difference in the lives of our veterans and their families. So never think you're alone. There's always somebody there that certainly wants to help you. Thanks for watching, and thanks to New Mind Studios, and of course our sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental, and Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision, and USAA. We appreciate all you do for our military. And as always, see you on the high ground. Hooah!
You've been listening to Your Next Mission, brought to you by the American Freedom Foundation. Learn more by visiting yournextmission.org.